Using support and resistance is one of the most important parts of trading, but the problem is that it's so easy to look and see what happened in the past and say, hey, I should have bought at support right here and then sold at resistance right here, and then maybe shorted at resistance and then bought at support again. It's a lot easier to just say I should have done that than to actually do it in the current moment. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how to actually master this concept of support and resistance trading with none other than Bookmap. So we have a very awesome video today. Basically, if you're into trading, there's no better software out there when it comes to seeing exactly where buyers and sellers are at than Bookmap. Best of all, what I'm going to show you today is something that you can access for free. So make sure to stick with me, but let's get right into it. The main reason that support and resistance is so important is because it shows you levels where buyers and sellers have made significant actions in the past. For example, if we look at Apple right now, we can see off this support line, this white line right here, there was a giant support level right around $171 and let's say 60 cents. Basically, every single time Apple touched that, it bounced up in a decent way. And of course, no support and resistance levels are exact to the very penny, but generally speaking, every time Apple touches this support level, it bounces up. And at the same time, there's also a strong resistance level right around like $173.85. Basically, every time Apple got to that level, it came crashing right back down. And the main reason for this is because buyers and sellers have a habit of buying and selling at this level. For example, if we look at the chart of Apple right now, just over the past 5 days, traders all around the world and a bunch of, algorithmic trading systems and high frequency trading systems see that this $171.60 level is a strong area of support. And when the stock gets to that level, they come and buy the stock back up. But the problem is that, yes, you can just plot important levels on a chart and that can work, but it's actually a lot more easy to just see literally where buyers and sellers are currently at, and that's exactly where Bookmap comes into play. So Bookmap is, for those of you who don't know, basically like X-ray but for stocks. It's pretty awesome. What you see on the chart right now is probably to you looks pretty crazy, but I'm gonna break it down in a nice easy way. Essentially what we have are where you can see exactly where buyers and sellers are at. So you will see occasionally some giant like orange/red/yellow levels, and that just shows you where the buyers and sellers are sitting at. So for example, if Microsoft right now is at $313 a share, and we have a gigantic orange level right at $312, that shows you there are a ton of buyers just sitting at that $312 level waiting to get their orders filled. So if Microsoft comes down to this $312 level, that is very, very good information to know because someone is ready to buy a ton of Microsoft shares. At the same time, we can see there's a giant liquidity level right around this $313.72 level, right? Right around there. So that tells you when Microsoft gets close to that level, maybe be prepared for a pullback because there's a ton of sellers sitting there waiting. So this is very important because if you look at any normal chart, there is no way to tell that those sellers or buyers are even there at all. You can look at, some support and resistance levels you draw out and, maybe you can add, some simple moving averages or VWAP or something like that, but it just doesn't compare to, the actual order book. So this is where Bookmap becomes so useful because let's say you're day trading Microsoft and let's say you are, shorting this stock down, when it gets close to that $312 level, you're probably going to want to cover your short or sell your puts or do whatever because there's a ton of buyers right about to step in. So that's like how the heat map section of it works. But what's also very interesting is these giant dots on the screen. Essentially what they represent is how aggressive the buyers and sellers are. So when you see like a bunch of giant green dots, it shows you, there is a ton of just overwhelming buying pressure right now. And, that's a good thing to see. It's bullish. If you're buying Microsoft calls or buying Microsoft shares, you want to see an overwhelming amount of giant green dots because it shows just, buyers are flooding in. At the same time, if you see a bunch of red dots, it shows you that the selling pressure is getting more and more aggressive, and it's pretty bearish to see. But the key thing to keep in mind is, like, let's say we go to, your normal stock chart. Well, let's say we go back to Microsoft. What we can do is we can go add studies, and we can, add VWAP, and maybe we might add like a simple moving average or two. And, this can be good in certain ways. And, every study has its pros and cons, but no matter what, whether you're looking at a simple moving average or VWAP or MACD or RSI or basically any other software or study out there, nothing compares to the literal order book for, the stock you're trading. And that's where Bookmap becomes so game changing. Another thing that's worth noting is, let's say we shift over to Apple. This is especially good for intraday trading. And let's say we go to the Apple Bookmap. We'll pull it up right here. Not only does this act as a good source of ideas where the stock will pivot, but it also gives you a great sense of why stocks are doing what they're doing. So for example, let's say we look at Apple right now. It is basically flat and it's not doing anything, and you might ask yourself, why is Apple just sitting there stuck in the mud when you have Google, Amazon, Nvidia, AMD, and honestly a lot of other stocks, just ripping and just setting the tone in terms of just, awesome movement. And we can also answer that question looking deeper behind the scenes to see what's going on. Looking at this Apple chart, for the most part, there are not really any major buying levels. Like, there's not too much buying pressure really anywhere to be found on this Apple chart. Let's say we go back to Microsoft again. We could see Microsoft has a decent amount of buying activity. We have some very strong buy orders just sitting there waiting to be filled. And when we look at the sell orders, lingering right up here, they're nowhere near as strong. But then we go to Apple again. We can see it's a completely different story. We have basically no significant buying pressure. And then when we look, up above, there's a lot of selling pressure, right around this $172.50 range, as well as right around 173. So it's like, what might seem confusing just looking at a normal chart can become a lot more clear when you actually look behind the scenes. It's like when you have no buying pressure plus a decent amount of selling pressure and everything else is booming, that just equals, chop and, stuck in the mud type movement. And I think that's very crucial to be aware of. Now, I use Bookmap all the time. You can access it on Thinkorswim, and that's awesome. You can actually access it completely for free, and I'm going to show you how to do that on Thinkorswim. So stick around for that. But I also use it just on their standalone platform, which is basically like an unlimited version where you can access everything you could possibly imagine when it comes to, order flow and all that good stuff. But one thing I love to look at is, let's say we're looking at this chart of Nvidia. We could see the current order book right on the right-hand side of the screen right now. And that basically tells you right now where the buying pressure is at. And, it goes hand in hand with the heat map and all of that good stuff. But it's like, let's say I'm looking at Nvidia for a day trade right now. And let's say I'm looking to buy the dip on this stock. I can see, all right, it's up 3% today. The stock is booming. And while it's booming, I don't necessarily want to buy at the high right now. And I ideally want to, buy the dip somewhere. Problem is, I don't know if the dip will be at, $292. I don't know if it'll be at 295, or I don't know if this is going to dip at all, right? And while you can never be 100% sure, looking at the current order book and just where buyers and sellers are currently at gives you a lot more clarity. For example, we can see it. We have a giant sell order just sitting there waiting at $298.50. Nowhere else on a normal chart can you see that. So that's definitely something important to be aware of. But what's even more important is if I'm looking to buy the dip, we can see I have a lot of, you could say, support right around like $297.90. But even more support right around $297.80. So it's like, if I'm looking to buy the dip, I will definitely look to get in around those levels. And like I said, you cannot see that anywhere else on your normal chart. And that's where Bookmap becomes so game changing. So if you want to try out Bookmap, If you're on Thinkorswim, basically I'm going to attach a video on top of, this is like a little card on the screen right now that'll show you how to access Bookmap for free. And then at the end of this video, I'm going to attach a link where you can get access to Bookmap completely for free. What's cool about Thinkorswim is that, like I said, you can get a free access to Bookmap for Apple, Microsoft, and S&P 500 futures. And if you want to get access to unlimited tickers, you have to subscribe, but it's only like $30 a month, so it's, you know, pretty cheap in that sense. And then if you really want to take it to the next level, you can actually download Bookmap's standalone platform, which is what I have. It's awesome. Like I said, it's basically like the Thinkorswim version of Bookmap, but on steroids. So I hope this video helped you. If you're just looking to get started, definitely check out Thinkorswim's Bookmap platform. Like I said, it's completely for free. You can access Apple and Microsoft and S&P 500 futures, which is pretty awesome. You know, you can't beat that. If you like it, you can always upgrade, but I don't know of any other software, anything like this, that is currently available to retail investors. So definitely check it out, and thanks for watching.